Would you ever choose to induce sleep paralysis on yourself? Have you ever predicted the future in a dream? What would you do if you were sure that a family member wasn't who they said they were? Today, we test the believability of the maternal imposter.
Welcome to Believing the Bizarre,
where we dive into the unknown and the unusual.
and tell you whether or not we dive into
We find it believable?
and tell you whether or not we find it believable.
It's only 171 episodes
There's
in.
bound to be a flop somewhere. I'm trying to adjust my mic. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you were trying different inflection, though. I kind of liked it.
Thank you.
It's a little mixed up.
How's that? Is that better? That's
It-
good. That's good.
I think it's fine.
Okay,
I
good.
think it'll sound good.
Good.
Did you put this back on? Because
Yeah.
I don't remember putting this back on.
Put it back on.
On mine, too?
No, I didn't put on yours.
I don't know what happened here.
You did it.
We're talking about pop filters, y'all.
Ghost.
Not today. Maybe. Maybe we got some ghosts in the studio. If we need to start cleaning. We got some
Got
studio
some rent to pay.
Come on. Clean. I hope everyone's having a great week, a great Tuesday.
Oh,
Almost a hump day.
Almost.
Or maybe you're listening to this not on Tuesday.
And maybe it's Thursday, or maybe it's Friday.
Yep. Or maybe
Probably
it's
the best
next Tuesday.
Oh, today's Friday.
Today's
Hell
Friday.
yeah.
As of the recording of this, it is Friday.
I love a good. Oh, you know what I have to do tomorrow?
What do you have to do?
Family reunion.
Where's it at?
Some park.
Okay. That's fair. So today's listener submission time. I didn't forget the word doppelganger. I just chose not to use it. I went with imposter.
I liked it. It was good. It was very much it's a synonym.
Yeah.
It's a synonym.
I went to thesaurusrex.com and I threw it in there. No, I'm just kidding. That's what I felt like. But we got two stories today. It's a listener submission Tuesday. We plowed through a whole bunch of them for our 3-year live stream.
Bunch of short ones. They're good though.
Yeah, short does not mean bad. Long does not mean good.
That's true.
I think the two ones that we have today are excellent,
Ooh.
if I may say so.
A nice Wagyu beef, or I guess
Is that how you say it? I've always wondered.
Wagyu.
Wagyu?
Yep. It's pronounced you can't afford this.
Yeah. It's like where they put their arm behind their back when they pour the water, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's how you know.
That's how you know you don't belong there.
But that said, let's get into our first listener submission. So this first story takes place in both Colorado and Chicago, not at the same time. She's not interdimensional.
I was gonna say
2 different years, 2013, 2016, and this comes to us from Cassie. Now, this is what's interesting. It's like there's many ways that people can get us their stories. The most common, and just being very frank, the most preferred way is by going to our website and filling out the form.
yeah, it organizes nicely for us.
Very, very nicely. Because even if we don't immediately throw it in our drive, it's still in our email, and you can, like, it always has the same headline, so I can go through and, one time knock out many, many stories. But I specifically remember this, Cassie, Facebook messaging us. And it's so funny because, like, it feels like it was years ago. But I remember this interaction where like, she sent the story, and she ended up filling out the form later. But, like, I remember this vividly, and it's like, whoa, now I'm doing it.
Okay.
It's been so long.
That's interesting.
So here's a quote from Cassie. Quote, "My name is Cassie, and I've always been interested in the paranormal and the spooky world. But nothing has ever really terrified me, ... until the day I first experienced sleep paralysis.
Oh.
I say first because it happened to me multiple times as well as it happened to my younger brother and also my dad. So I guess it does kind of run in the family like you guys said." Unquote. We must have said that in the sleep paralysis
I think
episode.
we did.
I think we said there was a generational
Skip?
I don't think it was a skip. I don't remember.
Hiccup?
But yeah, so this first story is a sleep paralysis tale, which again, for those of you that aren't aware, sleep paralysis is this phenomenon where people wake up, so to speak, and are unable to move their bodies at all. Like you're frozen. Your arms can't move, your legs can't move, your chest can't move. And while your body's frozen, your vision, your hearing, your mind is conscious.
Did you ever ask your dad if he had sleep paralysis, or your mom?
Was I supposed to?
No. I was just wondering if you'd ever asked him.
Like around the crackling fire.
You were just out hanging with him, so maybe it came up.
Y'all ever wake up and not find the ability to move?
Well, I know they listen. So
They do listen.
So
I don't know.
Mr. and Mrs. Tyler's mom and dad.
Hey, no. They got to submit a story like everyone else.
I just want to know. I just want them to call me and tell me.
We'll get to it in 2 years. Speaking of, my wife's story should be coming up shortly.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, she put it in just like everyone else.
She put her time in.
Listen, she put it in March of 2022. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
You gotta wait in line, Claire.
I know. I was like, she's like, how do I get it on there? Here's the link. But it's a good one. I've heard those ones, obviously. But anyways, you're in this state, and some people, that's just all it is. But for others, people claim to see and hear terrifying things. And there's one kind of overarching creature, the old hag, which is commonly encountered during sleep paralysis. Now, there are scientific beliefs regarding sleep paralysis. But if you want to check that out, we did a whole episode on it. Sleep paralysis, the old hag episode. I'm not going to be a buzzkill and talking about science now.
No, yeah.
I just wanted, I think a lot of people know what it is now, but you don't ever want to assume.
That's true.
So there's kind of like
The Chilling talks about the old hag in her podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just had a conversation with Lindsay from the Chilling podcast. Plug. Go check that out.
It's on YouTube.
It's our next door neighbor in Kent, Ohio.
Well, yeah, she'll know that now, but it takes place really close to where I live, so.
But we're Akron boys, so Kent State still sucks.
That's right.
But anyway, so the first time that Cassie experienced sleep paralysis was at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. So she had a busy day, and she decided that she wanted to lay down in her bed and take a small little nap. Shortly after her head hit the pillow, she started hearing voices. They almost sounded familiar, but off. But still, it was in a way drawing Cassie in. Very quickly, her curiosity and confusion turned to fear. At this moment, she had no reason for this instant change in her mood and the energy. Without a clear stimuli, her body dropped into a state of terror. Then, the room darkened. Her body felt weightless, and she couldn't move. But also, it was like she was being pushed down by what felt like 1,000 pounds. She had a sick feeling in her stomach and started feeling lightheaded. It was almost like she was experiencing zero gravity. She lost control of her body, which felt like it had no weight and no mass, yet there was this immense pressure building up against her. Her eyes jerked around the dimly lit room, trying to find a solution as to what was happening. Instead, she saw a dark figure standing by the door. It was a man, incredibly tall and slender, and dressed completely in black. She couldn't make out its face. It actually kind of appeared blurry to her, but she could tell this man was pure evil. Immediately, she tried to scream, but she soon realized that she couldn't squeak out a single word. She was frozen. She couldn't even make a sound. It felt like her mouth was sewn shut. She tried flailing her arms to no avail, and a second later, the shadow man seemed to transport directly to her bed. She wasn't able to tilt her head up and see this man's face, but she could shift her eyeballs just enough to see that this man was looking down directly at her. A moment later, she could feel his hands wrap around her throat. He started choking her. She tried screaming, kicking, thrashing, anything, but still nothing. When she finally was ready to succumb to her fate, she was able to snap out of it, and she woke up from her bed, gasping for air with tears streaming down her face. Her roommate looked at her concerned and asked if she was okay. Cassie didn't want her roommate to think she was insane. Plus, she was honestly still processing everything herself. So she told her that she just had a nightmare, and they never talked about it again. And for a little humor, this is a quote from Cassie. She said, "We never talked about it since, maybe because we didn't talk at all because she cheated with my boyfriend at the time."
Damn. Yeah. That's the last thing I want to talk about, I assume. Wow. Yeah. It's pretty scary.
Yeah. I think even if you don't see anything, like if you're not aware of what sleep paralysis is, like she's very, very aware of it now, but in that moment, I don't think she knew what was happening. Like even scientifically, right? Like even if she's a strong believer that there's no ghost here, I'm experiencing this phenomenon, you're still going through it and it's spooky, but I don't even think she had that awareness. So it's just like if you have no idea, you wake up and it's just happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't know what's going on. Like, it just must feel like some kind of attack.
I would be terrified even if I didn't see anything, if you just like were mentally awake and you couldn't move, like I wonder, nobody's story that we've read has really hit on this, and I'm curious, maybe they don't suffer. Imagine somebody who has extreme claustrophobia dealing with that. Like even though you're not, like you're maybe in an open space, a bed or a couch, like I wonder if not being able to move your body like heightens a sense of being claustrophobic.
It always does seem to manifest in some kind of spirit as well too, like or aliens or something that's maybe it's really happening. I don't know. And you said this thing was tall and wearing a black suit.
It was all in black. It wasn't necessarily a suit. Blurry
maybe
face.
This was a slender man.
So you're saying is it didn't happen is what you're saying. Have you ever squeezed yourself in a place that you couldn't easily get out of? I don't know why. Like
every day, this chair.
Jeez. I'm not a claustrophobic person, I don't think. But every now and then, like I'm trying to think of like a playground tunnel or something. Like I feel like maybe 4 times in my life.
Have you ever seen those TikTok videos where like the people that do like cave diving, I guess? Oh. And they get as tiny as they can.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
I've seen one of those. Yeah, I didn't know it was a thing, but
that's a thing.
No, just like there's just been a couple times where I've had like mini freakouts where it's like you don't feel. I also saw a video of somebody snowboarding and they look to the right and they like stop and they see someone's like snowboard up in the air and they literally had to help the person because they wiped out, but they lodged themselves in the snow upside down and they couldn't move. They couldn't get out.
Wow.
Imagine being in that scenario. You're covered in snow, packed so tightly that you can't get out. Like, I think it's because I watched that recently, and now I'm thinking of this. But I wonder if anyway, I've never experienced sleep paralysis, and if I have, it was a long, long time ago. So I'm curious how we would do with claustrophobia, but that's neither here nor there. So naturally, Cassie wasn't able to forget this terrifying experience as days and weeks passed by. She researched what she experienced, and she came to the conclusion that what she experienced was sleep paralysis, which I would agree.
Yeah, I agree too. I've never had sleep paralysis either. I don't want it, but I also sleep on my stomach, so
that's true. The back is yeah. That would be really bad too, though. Waking up not able to move on your stomach. Like
I don't think you can get sleep paralysis on your stomach.
I've never heard anyone having it that way. And they say, well, we're going to get to it. Yeah, lying on your stomach is not the way that most people suggest. So Cassie took a very interesting approach to this, though. Rather than learning about it to avoid it, Cassie was like, no, I'm going to take this thing head on. Like, you know what they say, right? You got to conquer your fear.
Do they say that?
Well, in things that you can control, right? Like, if you have a public speaking fear, maybe you take a course on it or you sign up to do something, right? Or like,
okay. Or like you're scared of spiders, so you go to like a spider guy.
You go juggle, like, juggle 4 spiders.
Let me see them spiders.
I want to touch them. Give them all high fives, 8 of them.
Okay. Really big tangent, really quick. Sorry. Remember when we were at my bachelor party and what I made it? I got drunk and I made us watch that guy get stung.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I watched more of that recently.
How's he doing? Is his arm just like a balloon right now?
He's real messed up. He grabbed 200 yellow jackets or hornets.
Oh.
And he put his hand in it, and he's like, maybe if I give them enough time to relax, I could put my hand in it. And he did for like a second. And he's like, oh no! He's right away screaming. I love that guy.
That's the anticipation. Like some of them, he has to get like the pliers to get him to bite.
Yeah.
The anticipation of the bite sometimes like really gets me. It's just like, I just don't like it.
They were ready to sting him.
Like, what's this motherfucker doing? And then he puts his hand, just boom.
Yeah, Coyote Peterson.
That's a good, legitimate shout out. That's good. So just like that, Cassie decided that she wanted to take this head on and find ways to induce sleep paralysis. She admits that maybe it was based out of curiosity, trying to figure out, maybe more about this other world. But she also said that, like, because of her first sleep paralysis experience, nothing else gave her like that adrenaline rush. Like a horror movie couldn't do it anymore. Like after experiencing what she did, and she liked paranormal, she liked horror beforehand, but like watching like Blair Witch or whatever, it didn't do the same thing it used to because of this experience. So I think she was also chasing.
Yeah, she's chasing that high.
The exhilaration.
Which is dangerous.
Yeah.
It does remind me a little bit of that movie Flatliners. From what I understand, because I've not seen it.
I mean, she's not killing herself.
Yes.
And trying to bring herself back.
But she wants something else.
She wants something else. So she read everything she could in terms of trying to give herself sleep paralysis. In her words, I did everything like sleep on my back and not move when I was trying to fall asleep, even though my body wanted to. Then all of a sudden, I just felt the room turn dark and my body feel light and that feeling of dread again. I heard weird noises like footsteps and saw a short woman at the foot of my bed. And all of a sudden, she appeared right by my face. She had curly hair and a smile that went from ear to ear, almost like the Cheshire cat from Alice in Wonderland, but with pointy teeth. I was completely aware and ready this time, though I was still terrified. I was able to snap out of it before anything happened. By that time, I had experienced some sleep paralysis episodes without hallucinations, so I was very good at snapping out of it and being in control most of the time. There were other scary moments, but those are probably the most memorable sleep paralysis ones, aside from one that happened recently, although I don't know if it was sleep paralysis. Basically, I was sleeping and it happened way more sudden than the sleep paralysis. My eyes opened and I saw a body over me. It resembled a guy with a cloak and a hood, but also seemed like someone familiar. But his arms were lifelessly dangling while he was just floating above me until he lunged at me with a knife, to which I started screaming and flailing until my spouse woke me up. So this time, I was actually able to move and scream. So it actually seemed real to me. I think that was more terrifying because it didn't feel like the sleep paralysis episodes, and it happened so suddenly instead of a creeping, ominous feeling. But needless to say, my husband was equally freaked out by my screaming bloody murder and flailing around in bed at 3 a.m. Unquote.
Do you think that maybe she tapped into something?
Well, I think if you're in a place with, I think there's, I'll get to your actual question. I think there's value in the scientific side of sleep paralysis, that maybe there's just something going on in your head and your mind and your body. Like you're in a dream state, even though you're conscious. I think maybe there could be something based on where you are. Like I think people might experience sleep paralysis because just physically, if they're in a house that has paranormal activity. But I think to your point, I think she was looking for stuff. And if you're trying to if there's intent, if you're trying to actively do something.
Intent.
If you're trying to actively do something and look for something and research something, then something's going to find you.
If you look for something, you're going to find it. If you stare into the abyss will stare back.
Mm. If you go in a dark, tiny room and talk about it once a week.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Well, here's the thing. But the last one, maybe is a dream? Maybe it's a dream. Because she was able to move.
Yes.
Right? And she said the floating figure seemed familiar, which makes me think of that theory that you actually don't make up faces in dreams, or they're generated from your memory.
Yeah.
So maybe she knew the face. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's a dream.
I think in a perfect world for her and her safety, I hope it is a dream.
But that doesn't mean it's not something wearing the face, you know?
Yeah. I would agree that I don't think it's sleep paralysis and she kind of came to that conclusion herself based on being able to move and all of that. So yeah, I don't think it's sleep paralysis, but whether it actually happened or is a dream, I don't know. Hopefully,
even if it was a dream, it still could be message, warning, something from the other side. I can't count that out.
I think the face being familiar, though, is a good point. And if it really did lunge at her with a knife, even if she's flailing, if she didn't have a cut when she woke up,
I think it was not real. But that doesn't mean it wasn't real. You know what I mean?
It was a ghost.
Like the end of Harry Potter, where Harry Potter's like semi-dead, right?
And he sees little Voldemort.
And he's like, Dumbledore, is this real? He's like, is this in my head? And he's like, surely it's in your head, but that doesn't mean it's not real. Something like that.
Okay. It could be. Do you remember, I don't know what you call this. It's not a creepypasta. Maybe a meme? Urban legend? I don't know. Do you remember there was that like black and white photo? It was like a guy's face. He looked like a guy that would work in a Subway. I don't know what that means. He was
Give me a very distinct image.
I think he had like really bushy eyebrows, and I think he was balding on top. But it was like one of those memes where people would share it online on Facebook and stuff. And it's like, have you seen this man? Nobody knows who he is, but thousands of people report seeing him in their sleep. Remember that image now?
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about.
I don't know why I was thinking about that. It's just kind of like, that's like this warning, guys.
Oh,
like,
the
hey.
familiar face. That's why.
Yeah, the familiar face. It's like, it makes me, like when people are like, you can't make up a face in your,
Your
in
dreams.
your dreams. But then, you see so many people every day. Like it could be somebody you subconsciously saw, a giant eagle.
It's probably just my trainer.
Or Piggly Wiggly. Or Wawa. What other ones you got? Kroger's. Aldi's. Myers. Publix. Ralph's. Trader Joe's.
Giant eagle.
I said giant eagle.
Oh, okay.
That was the beginning. That's a full circle.
Yeah, for sure.
And
the end.
Let's move on to the second story. All right, so our second story, our second listener submission for this episode comes to us from Ashley in Arkansas.
Ashley in Arkansas.
Nowhere
else you'd rather be
than Arkansas.
Is that the motto for the state?
Arkansas. It's not your Kansas.
This is Arkansas.
Arkansas. 2004 to present. This is a lifetime stuff over here. So she says there's like multiple little things. Like it's like this little thing will happen. That little thing kind of happens every now and then. And then it gets to like the main thing, the meat.
Amuse bouches. And then we have our dinner. I'm hungry.
The dinner.
It's coming through. The food references are coming through. I'm hungry.
Okay. I have no problem with that. Do you know what you're going to order for tonight's Netflix party watch?
I might not order anything, so we'll see what happens.
Some good old...
I'm thinking just a sandwich.
Diet, low-calorie air.
Yeah.
Although the air quality around here has not been that great.
Yeah, it's not great either.
It probably is diet.
It's kind of like barbecue.
There's aspartame just floating around the air. So she says that she has a knack for predicting the future in her dreams.
Did she know we were going to do this episode today?
No.
I bet she had a dream about it.
She might have. She's just like super amped for next Tuesday. I don't know. Like, that'd be so trippy for me because I would never know if something was purely a dream or something that might come true, right?
I would assume it's always a dream, but that's just me.
Well, I would too, but it's like, how many times do you dream something and then it comes true before the next time, you dream Tyler tripped and hurt his ankle.
I never dream.
And that you know what? I always forget that. Do you remember the last time you had a dream?
It was like
how many years?
A couple months ago.
Okay.
Because I remember I told you about it. Because I was like, whoa, I had a dream.
This is weird.
Yeah.
But that also means you're not having nightmares.
That's true. I don't often.
I think you're so afraid of like horror content that your brain learned
just shuts off.
Like we're not gonna have the good, we're not gonna have the bad. Just nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just off. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's what they say to do the like technologies. Turn it off, turn it on.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just a robot.
Good rest. Yeah.
So she's had multiple dreams that came true, such as various friends of hers revealing their sexuality to even car accidents, which is not good. And in addition to these dream predictions, she also had a fair amount of paranormal experiences, obviously being on the podcast. Like, okay, just going back real quick. If you had a dream that a friend was in a car accident, maybe you don't have the means to change anything. It could be from that morning. You wake up, it might already be happening or in the process of happening. But if you believe that you could predict things, like, would you call?
Maybe text?
Awkward conversation, like, hey, are you okay? Are you going in your car
you
today?
Just text the explosion emoji and a car.
And this might be you, bro. You good? So Ashley's first spooky experience came one day when she woke up and saw an entity near her bed.
Okay.
It was a man that appeared to be wearing a cowboy hat. He was very tall, dark skin, and was wearing leather and denim clothes. Terrified, Ashley woke up her mother and told her about what she saw. Now, Ashley's mother told her that everyone in her family sees this ghost or has seen this ghost and that it's okay, and just sent her off to bed.
Had it, partner.
I reckon you're your mom's daughter now, ain't you? When are y'all going to be having a child so I can be seeing them too?
Can't wait to hump the baby. That's my cowboy. It's terrible cowboy.
I didn't mind it. So this is a generational ghost.
Yeah.
Which is very strange.
Maybe that means it's like a past relative.
Yeah. Howdy, Ashley. Just checking in on you.
Yeah.
You like my denim?
It's
coming back. Still, though, very strange, right?
Very weird,
And it seems like and I don't know Ashley's mom. I don't know the relationship that they have up to this point. But, like, just, it's fine.
Touch dismissive.
Oh, him? Yeah, we've all seen him. Go back to bed. Go dream something. Dream something good, though. I don't know. I wonder why a cowboy. But I guess maybe it is lineage. I don't know. But I feel like her mom would have
mentioned that. Maybe she should know.
I guess she doesn't know.
Yeah. Maybe it's just long lost.
Yeah, I guess it could just be like, I don't know how long her family lived in this area, but maybe it's just, they've lived in this this place long enough that they just multiple generations have seen it because it's there and they've just been there for a long time. Some people stay in the same area,
It's true.
So in other instances, Ashley would come home to find, I don't like this, a mostly naked, ghostly figure curled up on the floor of a room or standing by the window.
Mostly naked?
Mostly, I don't know what that, like loincloth, hat.
I don't know. You gotta go be nude somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, how do you politely tell a ghost, get the fuck out of my room?
Well, other than the obviously bizarre sight, it gave her a strong feeling of dread, enough to make her eyes well up with tears. And she didn't say anything to it. She didn't do anything to it, but she refused to step foot in her room until it disappeared.
Yeah.
Which I think is very legitimate.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm like, I can't go to my room now. There's a ghost.
She didn't say it was curled up. Well, she did say it was curled up. I was picturing like this thing in the corner, like doing the
fetal position.
The fetal position, and it's like maybe it's got its back to you, and you can't really see all of it, but just like you can tell, like from what you can see from this angle, doesn't really look like it's wearing much clothes.
Feels like a horror movie. No, I'm gonna pass.
It really does feel like a horror, and it's just like like she's off, either going to bed to have a premonition, or she's coming home from school. She's thinking about algebra, and you walk in your room and you just see that.
No.
It's just a dude that was
right?
climbing through the window, which is equally scary.
Yeah, just to rock there. Yeah,
just to chill. It's like, this is something I hope to never see. Ashley also discovered that many of her items would disappear or go missing in the house.
That's common.
And very specifically hers.
Okay.
That's common. It is common. Move things. You've had things move. Your AirPod, remember?
AirPod?
Yeah, remember.
I remember that.
You said you've lost one AirPod.
Oh, yeah, I did. That was wild.
Did you ever find it?
Yeah.
Ghost took it.
I have two.
You have two of them?
I have two.
It's the best way to listen. So she was very particular about where she put certain items in her room. So it was very clear to her when something was missing or misplaced.
Yeah, okay.
One thing she enjoyed collecting were miniature gnomes, which I feel like you get behind.
Sure, yeah.
Down with that.
I like that.
And one of her favorite gnomes was named Conrad.
Okay.
So one night while she was sitting in her bed playing Stardew Valley, she looked at her shelf right by her Xbox and immediately noticed that Conrad was missing. Her attention shifted from the game to her missing gnome figure, and she was about to get off her bed and start looking for it. But a moment later, she felt the bed dip next to her.
Oh.
Yeah, not good. And slowly she turned and she saw a shadow figure sitting on the bed next to her. She screamed as loudly as she could and began violently shaking. She blinked, and a second later, the entity was gone.
She's like, what'd you do to Conrad?
Yeah, honestly, that's where that ends. So I have no idea what happened. I was expecting to be like, I looked up and Conrad was gone, and then I looked over here and he was there, but no idea what happened to Conrad. Also, it's like, it's kind of not a non sequitur, but it's like, I noticed that's missing, but it wasn't like, and then there's the thing next to her. It's weird.
True.
Because you don't know how long that thing was missing.
Yeah, well, maybe it was just waiting for the trigger.
I know. He's like sitting like, Jesus, when is she going to notice?
Or it's like it was like trying to play kind of like a prank. Like, when are you going to notice your thing's gone?
Yeah. He's like using like his watch's light to like reflect over on the Xbox. Like, look over there.
Yeah.
Notice it's missing. He's like, I've been planning 3 days for this. And then she finally, it's like he forgot his plan. She finally looked and he's like, I got to jump on the bed or something just to get her attention. Noticing, I guess you would feel it to a certain extent. But I've also heard stories about people seeing an indent in a bed.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just something that wouldn't catch my attention. But the minute it does, it would just be so unsettling. And it'd be like that moment where you'd freeze where it's like, what do I do?
Well, I feel like I'd notice, right? Especially if it's are you saying your bed is like those infomercials from the 90s where
with
like
the bowling ball?
The bowling ball and the glass of wine?
Well, it depends how close it is too. I mean, I'm not saying she has a king size bed, but it could be way over there.
I don't know.
It seems like it's intentional in that it's like, I mean, okay, maybe it's not intentional. Maybe it really was just like this entity was sitting next to her and this was a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it also feels like planting, like just enough to freak you out, but like not too much.
I see what you mean. Yeah, like it's a message.
It's creepy. I don't like it. However, the main story that we're going to talk about with Ashley occurred in her house, and she has no idea what this entity might be.
So this is the entree.
This is the entree. You can feast now, Charlie. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. In Ashley's words, quote, I live in a trailer where there's 2 bathrooms, one on each end of the house. yes, we're going to get a little bit of a layout. Because what is a good listener submission without a home layout?
I was just saying it's a big-ass trailer.
I hope architects are taking note because we're like outlining. I guess they would already. I guess it's probably.
I think they know that already.
They probably already know that. Quote: on one end, my parents' room is to the east with a master bathroom, and there's a hallway from my parents' room to an open kitchen living room that leads to another hallway with my room and my younger siblings' room, along with another bathroom. My room is closest to the living room, and my mom often makes multiple trips when she's home to the nearby closet, my younger siblings' bedroom, and the bathroom. What I'm saying is, she walks past my room a million times a day, or so I thought she did. I tend to sit on my bed and play video games, or read or scroll on my phone, and I'd always notice her scurry past, and sometimes I'd ask her something, or I would tell her something, and she rarely ever responded, and when she didn't respond, I always just assumed that she was ignoring me. Eventually, I realized something was wrong when I'd start seeing a tall, lanky, shadowy thing lean into my doorway and stare at me. It wasn't just a spooky shadow out of the corner of my eye. I'd look at it, full focus, and it would just stand there. And then I'd see it peek at me from anywhere. I'd be in the bathroom, and it would be there. I'd look at my floor, and it would be there. Between my bookshelf and the wall, I would always see it peek, and I'd make eye contact with it. A year ago, everything got way more intense. My mom and dad took my two younger siblings shoe shopping. They were supposed to bring home McDonald's or something for dinner. I stayed home because I just gotten a new pair of Converse and some white combat boots, and honestly, I hate shopping. I was in bed watching something stupid on YouTube, and I'd been alone for hours. Eventually, I heard the front door open and footsteps down the hallways to my siblings' room. Here's roughly what was said. "Mom?" I called. "Yeah?" she replied. "You guys are home early. What'd you get for dinner?" There was silence. "Mom, what'd you guys get for dinner?" It took a minute for a response. Long enough that I paused my video to hear better. Tension was building in my body. "Nothing. There's food in the kitchen. Come eat." She sounded weird. Distorted almost. The feeling of dread started. I calmed myself thinking that, maybe she was just tired. "You said you guys were all getting dinner." I felt confused. And then it hit me. Why didn't I hear my brother and my sister? Where was Dad? Come to think of it, I never even heard my dad's loud Chevy pull up. Just then, footsteps walked past my door, and I saw her figure in the doorway as she passed me. "Come to the kitchen." The dread was setting in. My chest felt tight. "Come on." She still sounded distorted, like her speech was slurred. "Where's Dad?" I asked. There was no response. "Mom?" There was a knock on the wall behind me. "Can I come in your room, hon?" I didn't reply, but I saw something peeking at me through the doorway. A tall shadow figure with unnaturally long neck, bent in a U-shaped angle, and long hair. It spoke again. "Ashley, come here. Right now." But that was not my mother. That wasn't even a female voice. I grabbed my phone and immediately dialed my mom's number. She picked up and I started sobbing. My chest was tight, and to be honest, I didn't think I was going to survive. "Are you home?" I asked. "No, we're in the drive-thru right now. I was about to call you and get your order." "Mom, I can't be alone here anymore." The thing was still staring at me as I spoke to her on the phone. She stayed on the phone with me for a few more minutes before hanging up. I didn't tell her what was happening. I didn't think I was ever going to see my mom again. The next thing I remember explicitly was what I said to get it to stop. "You are not my f***ing mother. Leave me alone." And then I prayed to a God I'm not even sure exists, and I cried and I hid under my blankets like a child, and I ignored everything that happened around me. Eventually, I cried myself to sleep. My mom woke me up and she was crying too, asking what happened, why I didn't pick up her calls, why I didn't let the neighbor in when she came to check on me. I told her what happened and that I never heard the neighbor or got her calls or messages. She told me I couldn't have not heard the neighbor because the neighbor heard and saw me. She said the neighbor heard me talking and saw me walk past the kitchen window. She said I looked taller, but it was only a glance. I didn't leave my room for the hours that my parents were gone. Sometimes this thing still peeks around, and when I'm alone, I can hear it. It calls my name, and it says, come here. And when I hear it, I ignore it. I don't know what could have happened to me if I'd come when it called me that day, but it no longer impersonates my mother.
Wow.
Yeah, they're like...
Wow.
Ooh.
Oh, my God. I haven't gotten really, really scared since we've gone to the studio. And now I can't say that anymore. Full body chills. That's terrifying.
That's a podcast too, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Ash the Flowers.
Yeah, that is so creepy. Spoiler for those of you that might ever hear this, we did speak with Lindsay from Chilling Podcast, and it kind of brings me back to a lot of those conversations about not knowing who you're talking to or if it's really who you're talking to.
Yeah.
And but this just like that innocence.
That is so intense.
The innocence, then you start realizing, things aren't adding up.
Well, how much you get for dinner?
And it just casually walking across, and it's just off.
The U-neck.
It reminds me of that movie Smile.
Reminds me of the bed neck lady.
Oh, yeah. From the haunting hill house on the hill that's haunted on the house.
I did not like that. That was bad.
And then it's also crazy because then it's like the neighbor saw it because it was impersonating her. No, that's so spooky though. Like
it's beyond spooky. That is terrifying. That is call Zach Baggins.
The fact that no matter where she looks, it can catch her eye. Like it's not like just like avoid the door or anything. Maybe that's why that dude's like in the fetal position. He's like, I see it too. Like this is scary. Yeah, like isn't like you look behind a bookcase, it's there. You look on the stairs, it's there. You look out a window, like
it's there.
And it just impersonating the mom, but then it's like it's the intent, right? It knows that its impersonation is starting to deteriorate.
I will wait for the discussion to ask that question.
All right, before we get to the discussion, we like to stop the episode and thank our newest patrons who, as of the recording of this episode, are just the name Yes. Hannah, the Shapeless Void, Lily, and Shailene. Charlie, I want you to enlighten our audience on something super cool that is in our Patreon.
I'll tell you something really super cool.
Better not be the same thing I have.
I don't think it is. This is the base level. If you want to support us at all, this is $2.
$2.
If you like our intro and outro music, you can get that as a ringtone, alarm, whatever you want. Don't use an alarm unless it's something special. Because then you're going to get sick of it. But you can get that ringtone for free if you just join the lowest tier.
Yeah.
Just for any support.
Yeah, that's true. You get the ringtone and the phone wallpapers.
And you get a shout out. You're going to get shouted out. We're going to see your name.
We're going to say your name, even if it's just yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's just someone. I just wanted to make sure everyone knows that because I don't think everyone understands that you get the music.
Yeah, the music is yours,
which is dope.
I mean, there's still licensing stuff. Like you can't use it on your own creative works unless you ask. Then we probably would let you.
Then we'll probably whip something out.
Yeah. And I'm going to go on the other side of the spectrum on our new tier, the not tier, in our dedicated tier. And if you've listened to us a while, you've already know this. But there's this awesome T-shirt that you get automatically by being in the dedicated tier. On the other side, in the not tier, you also get that shirt, but you also get a new hoodie designed by Kimmy from the Alluring Podcast.
That new hoodie. That new hoodie, though.
It looks so good.
I like it a lot.
You got a campsite. You got Black Eyed Kids. You got Hat Man. You got the Jersey Devil. You got Mothman.
Legit, I am going to the gym so I can get that hoodie.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
That's good motivation.
I want that hoodie.
And the main thing is, it needs to say Believe in the Bizarre. It needs to say Believe in the Bizarre. But it's not like, why? Like, I'm going to join the not tier, but I also want the shirt from the dedicated tier. You get it both. You get both of them in this tier.
I associate our podcast with green and purple. This hoodie subverts that a little bit. And I think the main colors are a teal and pink, and it pops. It's very cool.
It definitely pops. It's an awesome design. I think it's a sweet hoodie. So but there's much more. There's quizzes. There's fun segments. We're literally going to watch a movie and play a virtual game night after this episode.
Patreon's a whole good time.
It is bumping. Check it out. There's tons of bonus content in all of our tiers. But with that said, we got some spooky stuff to talk about in the discussion. Okay, so
first thing I want to bring up is, what did you say? You said Cheshire?
Cheshire?
Cheshire? I think it's Cheshire. I think it's a hard ch. Cheshire.
It could be. I don't know.
That's what I thought it was.
I always thought it was a sh. Listen, I look up a lot of stuff for this podcast. This is not one that I. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Well, like my first name, a C and an H makes it ch.
Charlie. Charlie. That's how I've been saying mother chucker.
Charlie.
Charlie. So I think I think maybe you'll be with me here. I think for Cassie specifically,
yeah,
believable on the sleep paralysis, and for me, I would say believable that either she just had a nightmare or that there's.
I think she is messing with shit she shouldn't be messing with.
Stop looking into it.
Yeah, you got. If you want this, I guess keep going down it. But what was the year span on that, by the way? Do you remember?
It was 2016 was when I think she first
started.
2013 when she first started.
Mm-hmm. She's got to put that stuff away.
I
think she has it.
I think, Cassie, if you want something exhilarating, I'm just saying, go to the dark web, get yourself a mystery box, record it.
You're the weirdest advocate for that.
I'm just saying that's probably very exhilarating. There's got to be some scary movies.
I just want to live through other people doing that.
I do. Well, I want a real one, but I don't want a real one. Maybe that's why people send us stuff. They're like, maybe Tyler will think it's a mystery box.
Maybe.
But there's got to be some scary movies out there that get what you need.
I don't know.
I
feel like it's a dangerous road to walk.
I've never heard somebody want to have it again, but I find it admirable in a way, but also like be careful.
It was Amelia's story though, right? Like she kind of
like went downstairs.
Yeah,
was like, this is spooky. I'm going to go upstairs. Oh, it's really good up here. It's like, but I want my alone time.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
You're silly, Amelia. So moving on to Ashley's story, there's multiple things here. There's the cowboy.
Yeah.
There's the curled up naked fetal man.
Yeah.
There's her stuff moving, shadow figures, and then this thing. It's not really a doppelganger.
Not to take your word, but this thing has so much bad juju.
Ooh,
so much bad juju, and it just radiates. That's very scary. What do you think is up with the impersonation wavery voice? Right?
Yeah, I don't think this is a doppelganger because I don't think she ever saw it and it looked like her mom.
She said she saw the mom walk back and forth all the time, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a clear like one story we did where the guy saw his mom walk backwards. Ben, I think his name was.
Yeah, it's
not quite like that. I think it never can I don't think it could ever fully take her form. And doppelgangers are when people think they see their exact familiar self. Like this seems like a poor impersonation.
And that's almost worse, right?
Maybe I should have said the maternal impersonation.
What'd you say?
Imposter. I don't mind. I don't mind imposter. It's fine. Not changing it now.
It's almost worse though that it's not good because
it's creepier. It's like something trying to. Yeah. It's like I think this is way scarier. But when we were talking about the not deer and how it's like something trying to be like something else.
Forgive all my Pokemon fans, but there's a Pokemon called Mimikyu, which is a Pokemon that is a poor replica of Pikachu.
Oh,
and it's kind of like that.
Yeah, I don't. It's just. It in a way, even though it's not robotic or animatronic, it hits an uncanny valley. Too.
Oh, it's oh god. The delay before saying nothing is what gets me the most.
Like
it's like, oh shit, was I supposed to get dinner?
Do you think there's any chance this is demonic, or do you think this is just
100% demonic? I don't think it's anything other than that. Yeah. There's so much intention there.
It doesn't really seem like a creature, right? Like, I mean, in a way it does, but it's not like a cryptid. Like, this isn't a cryptid. This is something that's enjoying messing with her. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't take on someone else's voice. That's like, when people would have the voicemail. Like, hey, Charlie. Like, hey, Tyler. Or like, hey, this is Charlie. No, I'm just kidding. This is my voicemail. Leave me. It's like it is messing with her on purpose.
Yeah.
And I guess when things tend to do that, and it's also like not like so many animals are built on like, I guess there's like the pleasure and pain principle, but like feeding, right?
Yeah.
Like if you get killed by, like the Wampus cat, it's probably because it was hungry and you were in, like the Wampus cat's not pretending to be, I mean, it's not real, but it's not pretending to be, someone else. Or even like the Jersey Devil, I feel like isn't tricking people and messing with people in a way. It's just like if it was
real,
a
chupacabra, right?
Yeah, it's like they're more animalistic.
Yeah,
like this thing is like enjoying tormenting her in a way.
It is enjoying tormenting her until it realized it was caught by saying stupid answers.
Yeah, that's true. So where do you land on this on our scale that goes from believable to viable to skeptical to unbelievable, or as producer Ben sometimes puts it, unbelievable to skeptical to viable to believable. Love you, Ben.
I'll go believable.
I'll be honest. There's some stuff in here that like seems cinematic, and the more cinematic that things go, the more I feel like
that's fair.
Not saying that Ashley's embellishing, but it just seems like. And then the neighbor came, and then the neighbor saw it too, pretending to be her.
See, that's
like,
what
that
brings
feels
it down
like
to earth to me.
It feels like a movie to me.
Well, that part I feel like is like a eyewitness, right? That brings it down, but I think it makes it more realistic. But you're right, the cinematography of it standing in the doorway with the bent neck, that makes it, to me, it blows up like a picture, like a movie. The
more that a story sounds like a movie, the more I start questioning, like, I don't know. But like, but I'm saying that's all prefacing to say that I agree with you. I'm going believable because, you know, here the believers are. We take things at face value, and it really okay. If we go less than believable, it's never because we think you're lying. It's because we think that we can disprove what you saw, right?
Yeah.
Not that we can. Like, we're not there. We're not running tests.
There might be a more rational explanation.
More rational than paranormal, right?
Yeah.
But there's a lot here, and I can't tell you what it is if it's not paranormal that she experienced that's pretending to be her mom. Like, what? Maybe it was the wind. No, I don't know.
It's probably the sunspots.
It's a fucking demon. I don't know. It's really, really terrifying. I hope she's okay. I'm gonna go believable, but this is a lot. All right, so that is our episode, The Maternal Imposter. The Impossible Imposter.
Macabre pasta.
Yeah.
Macadi. That's a creepy pasta.
You know, that's true. If you want your story on Believing the Bizarre, you can go to www.believingthebizarre.com. Go to submit your experience. Fill out everything in the form. Please give as much detail as possible. I'll be honest. When someone submits it and we get the email and I'm scrolling and you do a couple flicks and there's still text, and you do a couple more flicks and there's still text. Now, obviously, don't lie, don't embellish. You know, like even if you sell us a little,
just the details.
Even if you give us a little tiny story, we're still gonna find room for it somewhere.
Yeah.
But I'm just being honest. When I see those long ones, I'm like,
you get excited.
A little excited. I'm like, okay, I'm here for the ride.
Yeah. And if you enjoyed this episode and you want to tell us about it, please work in Apple reviews. It's been every day now, which has been awesome. But you can leave an Apple review, say something like, oh, man, that's great.
That's great.
Give us 5 stars. And if you're on Spotify, go on Spotify and give us 5 stars. And if you want to go into the episode itself and say something hopefully positive
about this, but like if you have a thought, like you can leave a comment about a specific episode in like overarching reviews. But if you want to speak particularly about this episode or a previous one, Spotify lets you do that directly in the episode, which is dope. And obviously we talk about Patreon. So if you want bonus content, you want a little bit more, you want to support the podcast, that is certainly out there. But I also want to remind you that we did drop our newest episode series designs. We have a Black Eyed Kids t-shirt, we have a Ghost Ships t-shirt, and we have a Lake Michigan Triangle t-shirt, all with images pulled from those episodes. So if you like those episodes a lot and you want to wear a shirt to rock it, it comes from a lot of like artists that like, you know, here's a shirt or a poster design from your favorite song or a movie. You know, having like a shirt or something from your favorite episode, I think is pretty dope. So go check that out if you haven't already. But with that said, thank you so much for listening. As always, I'm Tyler.
And I'm Charlie.
And catch us next week on Believing the Bizarre,
a podcast as bizarre as you are.